close you guys were and how you got hot and went all the way to the World Series?
Well, yeah, it was, like I said, it was a fun team. I think it was a fun team just to watch. You know, it was from a fan perspective with the speed and the defense. And, you know, we had pretty good pitching, and it was fun. Right up to the end, it was a fun year.
You talk about the run you got on. I mean, you were unhittable for the longest time. Did you feel the momentum building for you?
Yeah, I don't know about unhittable is the right word. You know, it let them hit it and let those guys catch it. Was kind of my attitude during those times. But it was, you know, definitely a street that I've never been on before. And like I said, mistakes. And I've said this a million times. The mistakes that I made or we made as pitchers, a lot of times just didn't show up in the scorebook because of Terry, Ozzie, Tommy, you know, Willie, Vince, Andy Van Slyke. You know, they just made all the plays. It was fun.
What's the significance of just coming back here all together, being in a big room with the families, and being back here in St. Louis where you can celebrate the anniversary of a special?
Yeah, that'll be fun. You know, the families will come probably, you know, more so tonight. They'll all be up above watching the game all together, I'm sure, at that point. But the Cardinals are great about getting these types of teams together. And, you know, I made a point earlier, like, I got traded over to the Dodgers and they won the World Series. And their one and only reunion for their 88 team was at 30 years. And the Cardinals, like every 5 years, they're doing something. We didn't even win. You know, so it was, it's a great organization. It's a lot of fun to be around the guys. And, you know, between the reunions and fantasy camps, it's good to get to see a lot of the guys, you know, periodically.
John, the 04 team here, they didn't win it all either, but they talk about it took them a long time to get over not winning it. Did it take you a long time to get over not winning it, or does it still?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
It hadn't happened yet.
I'll let you know it hasn't. I think about it all the time. It was, like you said, it was a great year right up to the last day. And I'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha.
Sometimes when it's happening, you don't appreciate what you did, but do you ever look back at that thing? Oh my goodness, what I did down the stretch. I mean, it's rarely done in baseball history.
No, I don't look back personally. I'll be honest with you. I'm not built that way. You know, I remember the things that hurt rather than the things that felt good. For some reason, I'm you know, mentally deficient in that area for some reason. But I don't look back. I mean, you know, because people ask me all the time, do you miss the game? I don't miss the game. I don't miss. I can't. So you can't miss something you can't do anymore. I miss the guys. I miss the locker room, and that's what, you know, days like this, events like this are what's special.
But why do you think you were so insanely great that year?
It's a great team.
But you being 20-1, wherever the catcher put the mitt.
It's not an individual game. You know, in order for me to be successful, everybody had to make the plays in the field, which they did. Very seldom did plays not get made. So, like I said a minute ago, mistakes that I made that may have cost games didn't show up in the score because Willie ran it down the gap, or Andy threw somebody out at third base, or you know, or whatever. You know, so it was. I really don't look back personally. I don't think back. It was fun. It was something that I did. I did it okay, but I don't dwell on it.
Joe, do you marvel at a lot of the guys talked about with Whitey Herzog? He was ahead of his time. And they would talk about during games, he would see 2 and 3 innings early, before, you know, ahead of in the future. What did you like the most about being with him?
Well, Whitey showed me confidence in me. You know, he could have very easily quit on me early in the year, but he didn't. He allowed me to kind of get out of whatever funk I was in at that time. I mean, I had some good games pitched during that early 1-7 stretch, but I had some bad ones too. And I think the difference between that and going forward was I won the games that I should have won going forward from there, and maybe didn't lose some of the other ones. But getting back to your question, Whitey was really good at looking ahead. I mean, I can remember sitting in the dugout at times saying, why are we doing this right now? Or why is Whitey all pissed off because somebody just walked somebody in the 6th inning? But Whitey's thinking to the ninth inning where we walked Lenny Dykstra in the seventh inning, which now brings Darryl Strawberry up with the winning run in the ninth.
Yeah, wow.
So,
2 innings ahead.
and yeah, it's just, that was just the way Whitey was, and Whitey was so good at keeping everybody involved, keeping the extra guys fresh, getting them at bats or getting them defensive work in the field, and the bullpen guys always knew what their role was. Ricky Horton knew that if, I'm going to use Darryl again as an example, if Darryl came up in the sixth inning and Whitey was going to make a change, he was Ricky's. And Kenny Daly knew that if he came up in the eighth or ninth inning, he was his. And so they didn't have to be on edge for the whole game every time the phone rang, get into a panic. And I'm sure they didn't really get into a panic, but you know what I mean.
And speaking of those Mets, was it just a really good competitive rivalry, or was there actual hatred?
No, I mean, it was a rivalry. They were the mouthier of the two teams. I think they were. I think, here in St. Louis we had, probably 4 press guys that traveled with us, if that. In New York they probably had 20. So they probably always had a mic or always had a pen and paper in front of them. So they had a tendency to run their mouths a little bit. So it made them a little bit easier to play against, or not so much to hate, but to despise.
John, you referenced Willie running the balls down. How would you describe the impact that he had that year, just his all-around game?
All-around game is a perfect example of it. Willie wasn't as fast as Vince in probably a 60-yard race, but from first to third, I think Willie was the fastest guy I ever played with. He'd get into that lean, and we still give him a hard time about the lean. Kenny Daly saw him today. Willie leaned in to give him a little hug, and Kenny said, "Careful, Willie, you get into that lean now, you may fall over." Yeah, defensively, Willie was outstanding, and Willie was the quiet leader. Willie never said anything. He still doesn't. You walk up to Willie right now, and his head's down, but that whole outfield was outstanding with him and Vince when Vince came up, and Andy. Andy was outstanding, probably the best right fielder I ever played with.
John, Whitey inviting Dinkinger back.
Sorry. It's good. It'll be spam.
Another feeling. Whitey inviting Dinkinger back to that reunion. I think it was a 20-year reunion, maybe?
It's possible. I don't remember what year it was.
What do you think that said about Whitey? Did that kind of give the whole group some closure? Or maybe it gave him some peace or some closure?
I don't know. I don't know why he did it. Never really asked him why he did it. I don't blame Dinkinger for all that. Like I said, I think I said earlier, I don't know if I said it here or not, we had opportunities still to win that game. It was still to get 3 outs, and didn't. And I knew Don from the American League, and Don was a fair umpire. He was a good umpire. He missed a call. Not the first call an umpire's ever missed in a game. He missed it 30 years too early. We could have had replay on it 30 years later, or maybe longer than that even. But I don't blame him. Like I said, we still had another day to play, and we didn't play.